You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Welcome. Thank you for pushing play. Obviously, if you push play, you know this is the IT and the D Show, and you know.
And if you don't, we're sorry in advance.
And this is episode 217. Guests this week include Matt Fox.
Or as I like to call it, Bob is wrong +1.
Come on, enough. Put it to bed. Put it to bed. This week, guest number one, segment 2, we have Matt Fox in the house. He's one of those people that you can't say where he works because he's one of those cybersecurity professionals.
He can tell us, but then he'd have to kill us.
Yeah, kill us. Right. But he's going to be talking about the future of identity management, which is kind of cool in the financial space because all the breaches we've been seeing lately. And last but not least, we have Dr. Hook, Jeremiah, and Sven in the house, the team from DailyDetroit.com, talking about all the stuff going on in the Detroit scene. Dave, you may fire when ready.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm Wyatt, that's Gary, you're Bob, and you're Dave. This is the IT and the D Show.
This is Max Headroom. And what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is Billy D. Williams. Bob and Dave and I are enjoying a Colt 45 right now. And remember, IT in the D, it works every time.
Where do you guys think you are? The Library of Congress? Detroit? Beyond the sun? Any of those right?
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
Hi, this is Christy Swanson, and you're listening to the IT in the D Show. And Bob and Dave touch my hoo-hoos.
What happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bunghole?
Exactly. Come on. Someone tries. What the hell with this? I'm calling a break. We'll come back to the D Show.
This is Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley, and the only two guys I hate more than Dinesh are Bob and Dave. Suck it, guys.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT and the D Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the beak off.
Hi, this is Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science. So, Bob and Dave, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Are we at a break yet?
Hey, this is Zach McGowan from Planet Earth. You're listening to IT and the D Show.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT and the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
Nerds.
What is a nerd?
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Hey, Detroit, this is Anthony Michael Hall. You're listening to my buddies Bob and Dave on IT in the D.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump Pump. The IT in the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
You're in your underwear? I'm in my underwear. Hey, let's hang out.
No, I'm sorry, honey. I have a headache.
I definitely want to see Bob in his underwear. That's a fact.
Hey, everybody. This is Tony Todd. What's happening? You may know me from Candyman, The Rock, Sushi Girls, Zoom, Night of the Living Dead. A lot of pop culture media madness. Anyway, you're listening to IT in the D Show. Business.
I'm totally into Dave, but not so much Bob.
This is Robert Hayes, the Ted Stryker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat steak.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D Show. Tough guys. Oh!
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do. The question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Now buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
It is a very, very sad day in the IT and the D offices as we are sad to announce the passing of AOL Instant Messenger. Rest in peace, AIM. You were a good old
It's
friend.
not dead yet. not until December 15th.
Right,
It's
but
still going
the
for a
button's
walk.
been pushed.
Yeah.
You're a good friend, and we'll miss you terribly.
I'm sorry for laughing at the death of your friend, Bob.
Goodbye, old friend. But hey, this is the one and only IT the D Show at episode 217. We are recording live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy. Dave the Geek sitting across from me if you're keeping score at home. Randy, I do the Twitter's Walker, is in studio.
I got no Szechuan sauce this weekend.
Oh, you know what?
So you went to Wendy's? Or...
And Nuri the FNG is in the house. Find us online, itinthed.com. Subscribe to us on all the socials and like us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Hey, before we get rolling, support for today's show comes from Bluehost. Bluehost is a top-rated website provider that powers over 2 million websites. It is everything you need to build a website you've always wanted and gives you the freedom to design your website your way without being limited by templates. It's simple enough for beginners. As we always like to say, it is so easy a Bob can do it, and powerful enough even for the most advanced users. And with fully customizable templates and third-party app support, you get total flexibility and control. Plus, with 99.9% uptime guarantee and automated updates, it's truly reliable and offers maximum security, including malware monitoring and protection, automatic secure WordPress installs. Not to mention, thanks to Bluehost's 24/7 tech support, online resources, and expert services, you'll have all the help you need to succeed and save time. Bluehost is the best tool to build, host, and manage your website. No wonder it's been the top recommended WordPress host on WordPress.org since 2005. And now our listeners save 50% when you sign up at Bluehost.com/IT. That's www.bluehost.com/IT.
I'm thinking that we should rewrite it and just say, attention, if you are a Dave in the listening audience and you have a Bob
and you
in
have
your
a
life,
Bob
in your life,
send them this link.
Right, send them this link. And
you have a Bob in your life.
Are you sick?
Are you living with Bob?
Are you sick of doing your friends' websites? Everything's fine until he has to hit that FTP button. And he
For
says,
just
Dave, can
25
you help?
cents a day, you can help Bob.
So, right. That's probably how much a Bluehost costs too. But
I'm so making that video.
Oh, that has to be done.
I figure I have enough black and white footage and
put, like,
photos
Sarah
of
McLachlan,
Bob.
like, in the background?
Oh, I will remember you, absolutely.
Look at this sad Bob. Bob doesn't understand technology.
Dave won't fix my stuff.
For just 25 cents a day.
Speaking of Szechuan sauce, a couple interesting things happened. So I want to say McDonald's screwed the pooch. They announced there's 2 McDonald's opening that have Szechuan sauce, which isn't a big deal. And if you're a Rick and Morty fan, and I get it, and they were giving away posters, but like they had 40 each location, 2 locations, each one had 40 like McNugget individual packets.
I heard some only had 20 actually.
Yeah, some across the country only had 20, but yeah, it was 40 here in Detroit.
And I looked on eBay. Jerry, I sent you the link. They were going for like $50 for a packet of McNugget sauce.
Dude, I saw an empty one. It was a used.
Stop.
I swear to God, it's on
They
eBay
were reusing them then.
for $25 for just the empty container.
The 64-ounce bottle, last I looked when I wrote the story, was $14,800.
Oh, Jesus. Isn't that good? I can make you a Szechuan sauce. I can do it myself. Like,
But you're not McDonald's. You're
I'm
Nuri.
not.
But here's the funny
That
thing.
Mulan McNugget sauce.
Here's the funny thing. Wendy's decided to jump on social media and just go savage on McDonald's. They said, "Hey, what did it say? Come on in."
Coming over to Wendy's for some chicken tenders. We don't have any Szechuan sauce, but neither does McDonald's.
The fast food wars are starting.
So I saw it in one of the articles about this. There was a PR guy talking about how there's no such thing as bad publicity. But I don't know. The reactions
there
I
is.
saw online were pretty. What they did was they broke a brand promise. Really.
Oh, I'm
Right?
never eating at McDonald's again, said Nuri, like every time. It's
Did
like,
they-
It doesn't require Szechuan sauce for me to not eat
Bob
McDonald's.
says that every time they take away the McRib.
Don't worry, the crib is back.
They're tickling my Elmo.
Tickling your Elmo?
They are.
You want to try that again?
They're
or-
tickling my Elmo. No, they're when you only release so many. They just did it. Nintendo did it too with the N60 or the
mini,
16-bit release with the mini.
See, McDonald's is losing touch with like us, right? Like regular, like young, hip people. They had a gigantic chance, and I feel like I don't know. This is like a big relevant moment for them that they completely.
Nuri, I feel like I have to be the one to have this intervention with you.
Yeah, who are you talking about?
You're not young anymore.
Actually, I was at a wedding in Maine. Two 21-year-olds getting married. I'm like, shit.
So here's where
But I mean, they had a chance to live up to so their commercials always show these super hip people eating McDonald's who would never eat McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
No, here's the dumb thing. When did the drive-thru become inconvenient? They have an app now. You can order your food and do curbside pickup, which to me I
talked about that a couple weeks ago. And the sign at the parking slot tells you what spot you're in, so you can put that in the app so they can bring you your food.
When did the drive-thru become hard? I don't get it.
Then.
When they started paying them $11 an hour is when it actually got hard for it.
They've been doing focus groups with this millennial generation, and they're determining that this is what they want. Of course.
When they stop talking about Gen X's? By the time I hit 38, when do we stop talking about millennials, for crying out loud? And do we have to label every generation?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know a single millennial who likes being called a millennial.
It's a dumb
pejorative. It is.
That's because it's usually used as a pejorative, right?
Correct. McDonald's actually says they're making it right, though. Today, they actually put on their Facebook page that they're going to bring Szechuan sauce back this winter, and it won't be just one day, and won't be just for limited restaurants. They're going to bring back a lot more. And
then
who cares?
Crickets.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No one will
already
care.
gone.
Give me the hot mustard, and I don't care. Just get out of it. Get out of it.
And anyone who waits in line at McDonald's, I don't know what I want to say.
That line was around the Jared took pictures.
Yeah.
I was in the line.
You are so stupid, Randy.
It was
I was doing it for the clicks. You were doing it for real.
I was going to eat the sauce. I was in line for an hour before a manager walked back and said, "We don't have any more."
It was 30. Yeah, I remember. I actually wrote down the time. It was 2:36, and so you got there a little bit before 2, right?
I got there shortly after 1.
Well, Randy, you were salty. You're on social media going, I'm eating at Coney Island now. Screw you, McDonald's, you stupid.
Lost customer for life.
Customer.
Not going to McDonald's again.
Until I'm drunk and I have to.
Randy Walker walked away.
So this one, we usually have all our stories we talk about kind of preempted. And we started talking about stuff, and I'm like, what is that sound, Nuri, coming from your computer? And he goes, and he dropped the bomb because I wouldn't do it justice.
Right. So it's really weird. I had a friend of mine who used to work at Google sent out a link on her Facebook page the other day and saying that Google keeps track of what you do, right? You have there's a myactivity.google.com. There's imagine that. Google keeps track of what you do. Data
where you drive. No, that was the mind-blowing thing for me with Google Maps. Even when I'm not putting in Google Maps,
link,
it follows me.
It says you browsed around this area. It's so weird. They know exactly what you're doing. So she said that Google keeps track of anything you ask its digital assistant to do and records the voice clip. And I'm like, oh, shit. Because I have this thing with Jessica where we sit around and we have wars with the Google Home where I'm like, she yells something at Google Home over and over again to play something on Spotify.
Would it happen to be?
Okay, Google, play Fat Bottom Girls.
That's one. And that's from my effing bedroom. So I went and I looked, and I have more than 100 times where she's asked Google to play Fat Bottom Girls. And it blew my mind that they're recording my actual voice and storing it for probably forever on my activity page.
See, if I were you, knowing this, I would just start screaming out "Okay, Google" in the middle of sex and let it record.
I'm sure it's already listening. It's already
No, that's the one thing that I said.
But then you could get the recording.
Well, I think we have a new show title, Inside Nuri's Bedroom.
No, that's the one thing, the question I had, and I said, well, why does it know when to record? And he said, well, okay, Google's the trigger word. I go, well, no, because it's recording you saying, okay, Google. So is it always recording?
That's a really interesting question. I don't know.
Well, I think they did talk about that because Echo does the same thing where it does that rolling record, but it only records 2-second snippets. So if you don't say "Okay Google" or Alexa or what in that 2 seconds, it nukes that, moves on. Allegedly nukes that, moves on.
And so you can actually delete all the recordings, which I'm going to do as soon as the show's over. You can go to myactivity.google.com or google.com/history. There's a My Account, and then go to Activity Controls, and you can scroll down, and it actually says Voice and Audio Activity, and you can turn off the storage of it. So I'm not sure exactly what, we saw that. We had that article last week.
Amazing how they just turn all that stuff on by default. That's amazing.
Well, we had that thing with Tinder last week where the guy didn't even know he had all that stuff. Even after he deleted his Instagram account, they saved the pictures. So do they really delete it, or are they just not doing
the worst one is when they do software updates on. I was an AT&T Uverse customer, and one of the guys in the house goes, "Where's your thing set at? 720 or 1080?" And I go, "Dude, I got the good TV. I don't know." He goes, "Oh, you're set at 720." So then when I got Comcast just switched over, it's the first thing I thought of is I go, I'm going into the settings for my picture.
Right.
It's the default is set at 720, and every time it does a software
Of
update,
course.
it pushes it back.
Of course.
So I'm guessing 90% of the people listening to this right now, if you haven't touched it,
You're set at low res. You're set at a lower res.
You went and bought that UHD TV like I did at Christmas, 4K, even though they're not giving 4K yet, except for on Netflix, and you're serving up crappy picture on your TV because they default to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good times.
I got a lot of crap to delete.
I'm stunned. So I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Equifax yet again because
a big player in our show for the last couple of weeks. We should invite them on.
Dude, number one,
who's Equifax? I'm just
So the Monopoly Man crashing the Senate hearings was outstanding.
Classic,
Yes, it was.
classic.
But two, the revelation from those Senate hearings that they have 225 cybersecurity professionals on staff. They ran a security, and apparently the guy who was supposed to do the patch on March 9th just didn't do it. And the security scan that they ran a week after that did not detect that the patch had not been run, and so the vulnerability was still there.
I still haven't seen an install list of all the products they use. I'd kill. I think everyone on in my company would kill.
Oh yeah,
but I would kill to know what they were using and deploying and how they were using it. 225 people in security is huge.
Yeah. That's a lot of people to not get anything done.
So out of that, how many, 30 in the SOC, maybe 60 analysts?
They didn't break it down. Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, if you're going to plan out a security team, there's a lot of people looking at that.
Kind of great though. They said that we can't make a law to ban stupid or stupidity. I'm like, jeez.
Well, yeah, you kind of can.
And then they said that their usual patch method is 48 hours after a vulnerability comes out.
They're saying their published, their internally published requirement is that it's patched within 48 hours.
And then they have security scans that run every week, and apparently they said it was a combination of human and technical error, but I don't know.
Yeah, Skeptical Dave is skeptical.
Maybe now that's their policy.
Yeah, there's going to be more to that story.
Also, the Monopoly
they wouldn't name the guy.
No, of course
that didn't run the patch, and that guy is sitting there with an email chain back and forth with his boss going, hey, I have to run these patches. And his boss going, well, we haven't tested release X of product Y on it yet, so no, you can't. It's in dev. We'll get to it when we get to it. And he's just holding on to that, I've got a golden ticket, until somebody subpoenas his ass.
Also, the Monopoly Man was a woman. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Yeah, she did a Reddit AMA about it. Her name is Amanda, and I'm like, that's pretty damn cool.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very, very cool.
Go Amanda.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I didn't realize this. I've never really done business in Russia. This isn't Russia, is it, Danny?
It's not Russia yet.
But apparently, I guess they told them that you had, in order to do business in Russia, you had to turn over.
If you wish to sell products in Mother Russia, you must give product to Mother Russia.
Right. So, I'm going to call them out because the story's out, so it's not like it's a secret. But Hewlett Packard and their wonderful
ArcSight,
their wonderful SIM ArcSight.
ArcSight's used by everybody,
including the Pentagon.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know what ArcSight is, it's their security incident event manager. It's basically everything that would get a red flag for a security incident goes through this product. So now, the military uses it, the Pentagon uses it, pretty much everybody in the U.S. uses it now. Because HP wanted to sell into Russia, they had to hand over the source code to Mother Russia.
Well, they said that it was updated, and it says that no, the testing was done in our controlled sites. It was under the supervision of our specialists to ensure that our source code and products were in no way compromised.
Sure it was.
It's like, hey, look over there, jump drive.
Right.
Why would you have to turn? Yeah, why would you even need to open your source code?
Source code.
Right.
Make sure there are no vulnerabilities, comrade.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Trump.exe.
So you want to talk about clickbait, Dave?
Yeah, we should, because this story was pretty effing annoying. So the story that was shared 1 million times in my Facebook feed with
about 3 million.
With C was woman jailed for refusing to vaccinate child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for those who I'm going to guess 70 to 80% of you that didn't bother to read the article,
nobody read it.
They saw the headline and said, that's what I agree with. And
they just got angry on the comment section.
Yeah. And so the reason why she was jailed was because she had been divorced from her husband. And as a part of their legally binding divorce agreement, she would ensure the children were vaccinated. She decided to change her mind at some point. The court said, no, you don't get to just change your mind when you have signed a legally binding divorce agreement. So you will do so, or you will be in contempt and go to jail. She's continued to opt to not do it. And so she was found in contempt and went to jail. So she did not actually go to jail for not vaccinating her children. She went to jail for being in contempt of court.
But our lovely media puts mother jailed for not vaccinating her son.
Right. And that was the headline.
And then it goes international.
It was on BBC, the article I saw.
Because, of course, Michigan makes all the good headlines. That's
Or Michigan
Second
or
only to
Florida.
Florida.
Yeah. But is there no recourse for that kind of? It seems like every stupid article out there now, it's just to get people riled up and to comment on message forums, and we get them clickety clicks. And now we can sell.
That's
ads.
all it is, Bob.
Well, that's because Facebook isn't great for news. Facebook's great for talking to people, but Facebook is not a good news source. Like the algorithm doesn't disseminate truth; it disseminates what's popular and what's hot in conversation, not exactly what's true.
But speaking of getting Facebook likes, let's talk about our friend Champagne Torino.
Can we take a moment to just focus on how much of a baller name that is?
Bask in the glory of the name Champagne Torino. You're either born to be a stripper, a character in Grand Theft Auto 6.
Possibly a gelato flavor.
Possibly a gelato flavor. So apparently Champagne lives in Auburn Hills. He has multiple outstanding warrants in Redford.
Did you say he?
Yes, it's a he.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure I heard you right.
Someone
Yeah.
named their son Champagne. Yes. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And so has multiple outstanding warrants in Redford, decides to taunt the Redford police. The whole haha, you can't catch me, announces that he will turn himself in if they share a post about him, and it gets 1,000 likes. The Redford Police Department obliged, and in roughly an hour later posted a picture of I believe it was an animation, a cartoon of a female police officer dropping a mic, because they had well exceeded that limit. So now he has apparently turned himself in. He had committed to do community service, picking up trash, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that was one of those just stupid criminal stories where he said, hey, I'll get my name in the news yet again, and I can go, look, that's me.
Has it gone that far?
Yes.
It's one of those things where it's like, hey, Jesus is looking out for your Facebook likes. If you get 10,000, he'll save
We
you.
would have saved, we would have saved your child,
Right.
but you were 4 likes short.
So now this guy's like, I'm going to get those Facebook shares. Come on, man.
And dumbasses like us are going to be sitting around talking about
where one kid uses his power for
Champagne
good.
Torino.
No, where one kid uses his power for good and gets free Wendy's nuggets for life.
Right.
Right. You're just trying to get out of, turn yourself in. What? There's no good can come of that.
No.
Right. It's not like if I get 1,000, you let me go.
Well, number one, is it a really good idea to taunt a police department? In any set of circumstances?
Especially with if you...
Let alone when you have multiple active warrants.
And if you give them a goal, they will reach it.
Yeah.
And it was even worse. It was I'll bring you a dozen donuts, too. I mean, the guy was just putting out a cigarette in their arm, and they're like, okay, all right, here goes.
Challenge accepted.
So, do you still remember your AIM username?
I do.
Yeah, Echo Dave.
Have you logged in lately?
No.
So I have it. Yeah, I was Walton Beer, my last name with beer at the end instead of Spiel, and I used to use AIM. That was religious. That was like my
ASL.
Seriously, that was the one thing
DTF
that everyone.
There was no DTF.
No, that did not exist.
35/M/Detroit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. But that was that's all everyone used.
It's all, well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Those are it reminds me the Vario days were I think the ending of me using them, which was 03.
And then it was a huge deal when you didn't have to have an AOL account to get AIM. That was a big thing. You could start using their instant messenger without being an AOL subscriber. Because, I was a CompuServe guy, but then, you get, yeah.
Yeah, that was my introduction to chat rooms was AOL, to be honest. BBS is first, but BBS kind of didn't count. But not only AOL going away, but now we got a couple announcements, and I know Mike Dennis is going to be sad about this one, but the Windows Phone is go bye-bye.
Well, Windows Mobile, yes.
Right.
Because they've realized they suck more.
They realize they have 3 customers and one of them's in Auburn Hills, Michigan.
Right, one of them's Mike Dennis. But it's Mike Dennis with 3 phones.
I actually really like the UI of Windows Mobile. It's like actually a really
good things
interesting and gorgeous UI, but it never adopted. I mean, it's like the Android versus iOS wars, and they just
There's
never. My
tons
boss,
of apps don't even work on it that are just like common everyday things.
My boss was traveling in Europe recently.
Xbox,
He bought a burner
PlayStation,
phone. He bought a Lumia,
Nintendo.
Brought it into the office today, said, here, whoever wants this can have it. So I grabbed it, updated it to Windows 10. It's pretty cool. I can't use it because it doesn't have the right bands.
And now here's the thing I don't get. We always said, Microsoft is a software company, period. Then they come out with hardware like this, the laptop and the Surface Pro. Mm-hmm. And I'll be damned if they didn't make a pretty exquisite product with the Surface Pro. And now all of a sudden, and they kind of redefined how HP and Dell and Lenovo and all those guys did their the tablets.
Now it's
right?
all about the convertible laptop, and it's all about
because they made it business. Because you couldn't really use an iPad for business. Now you kind of can, but in the beginning you couldn't. And now they're dumping it, and it's like you just made it good. You disrupted. You changed everybody's way of thinking.
They're dumping the Surface? I didn't hear that.
Microsoft's not going to make hardware as of like 2019. They announced that they're done making hardware. Period.
When I was traveling for work, like I'd get in like in the mornings and I'd be in first class because it was upgraded with the business people, and it's like every single one of them had a Surface.
Yep,
everyone.
Yep.
Wow, that's
because they're the cool toy.
Anyway,
they're the new hotness.
Because back then, when I started at 2008, everyone had a BlackBerry.
Yeah. BlackBerry dropped a new phone this week, actually. Hardware only. They switched to Android, but they dropped a really impressive looking smartphone.
BlackBerry drops a phone and no one catches it, does it still make a sound?
Are they going to add rim jobs then?
Yes, they're going to add rim jobs.
Research in Motion is going to hire people?
Yes, they're going to add rim jobs.
It'd be great if we could get some more rim jobs in Canada.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But hey, Bob, hackers breached Amazon's web services.
Stop, get out of town.
They did, but they weren't looking for data.
What were they looking for?
They were just setting up instances to mine Bitcoin.
And how did they find these people?
Apparently, several companies noticed ginormous computing rates or computing power bills that came through, and so they started tracing back. And it was people that had compromised accounts. And
it's so easy to do. I mean, people may check in their
they check stuff into GitHub because
right.
it's the dev environment or whatever, and then you're not really thinking about who all has access to that and where it might wind up.
It could be a lab environment. It doesn't matter. It's still compute that you can do things with.
But all to mine Bitcoin. Because that's where we are as a society
today. $4,500 a Bitcoin or whatever it is today.
Right.
It's all anonymous as it is anyway. So, yeah.
I want Burger King coin when that comes out.
$4,850 one Bitcoin USD.
But hey, actually, on the AIM front, we should have mentioned Yahoo came forward and
speaking of technology that's no longer relevant,
right? They just first it was we had 100 million, and then we had it was 300 million. Literally just all 3 billion accounts that we have, they're all hacked. All of them. And they were all compromised.
2.9 billion of them are fake accounts that we used to either play fantasy football or to sign up on Craigslist or
one of them is my mom's email account. She still uses Yahoo Mail.
Oh my God.
You're a horrible son.
No, now what sucks is
I've set her up with a new email account, but she won't switch over.
She
won't tell people the new email address.
Ymail went really well, didn't it? There was a huge adoption rate.
Yeah. Well, it's actually you know where it is big? Canada. I know a lot of Canuckistanians that have Ymail accounts.
You know what's wild?
Why
though?
use that mail? I don't know why.
Because Gmail's too American A.
I was going to make a mail A.
What's not funny though is that
A-mail.
A-mail.
So this breach happened. They let a billion of their users know that their accounts have been compromised. So 2 billion just sat on this since 2013, having no idea their credentials were compromised. AOL had to know, right? Because if Verizon has learned it now, AOL knew, or sorry, Yahoo.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just getting my shitty old technology companies. Anyway.
Yeah, my Alta Vista account is also no longer secure.
Good thing the sales finalized before this.
My CompuServe doesn't work anymore.
My Excite.com
hey, Neri,
account is
why don't you ask Jeeves and find out which ones are working and not?
So we love the AI stories, and I thought this was kind of interesting.
No, we don't.
You all get it a little creepy, but that's why we have to keep an eye on them. And this is one of them. So DeepMind has created basically ethics councils for artificial intelligence. Like, what should they be doing?
Are the AIs running the ethics councils?
Yeah, no, they're people. But the weird part is like they're the whole purpose of DeepMind and these things is supposed to be about transparency and exposure and and getting things like really out there in the industry and that sort of thing. But they are refusing to release the names of anyone associated with the ethics committees for whatever reason.
Yeesh.
Yeah, which is a little worrisome because if we don't know who's running the ethics for AI,
then how do we know?
I'm picturing them all wearing hoods sitting in front of a bright white light.
I'm picturing all the
Guy Fawkes masks.
No, the gold-faced dudes from Flash Gordon sitting at the terminals.
I'm thinking about that lady from Equifax, the CIO had a music degree. Maybe she's on the board.
She may well be. That may be her new job that we haven't heard about.
All
yet.
the assholes from Spaceballs, perhaps.
Right.
But hey, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back. I was going to say, speaking of assholes, we're going to have Matt Fox is going to be in the house talking about identity management and the future of cybersecurity. This is the IT and the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit, one beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Schneider from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Life of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back, segment 2. This is episode 217 of the IT in the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. It's Bob the Sales Guy hanging out with Dave the Geek. Captain Soundboard Nuri the FNG is still back from Burning Man. He's and alive and well.
How are your legs, man?
Singed.
And Randy, I do the Twitter's Walker.
Still putting aloe on the bottoms of his feet 3 times a day.
Vinegar. Find us online at itinthed.com because we are IT in the D and
you still are. You're gonna be mad.
You're gonna be so mad in a couple weeks. Just brace yourself. Speaking
of which, we did not mention next Thursday we are at Blackfin for one of our casual networking socials. We should be there. You should come check us out.
Hit the meet tab on our site. And
hit the meet tab
because
still
counter.
EET because we still do not have EAT.
3 voicemails, no callbacks.
Sons of bitches.
And he committed to me. I'm angry.
And then actually next Monday night, we're going to have folks from MEDC and DSCT in here talking about the things that are going to make people mad.
Shush. So speaking about things that make people mad, identity theft makes everyone mad. And we were lucky enough to meet Matt at our podcaster meetup. He's thinking about doing one himself.
We meet Matt at the meetup?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed you actually got that out.
Yeah. Beak, bacon. Yeah. There's meat. Yeah.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Yes. But hey, we met Matt Fox at the podcaster meetup over at Selena's last week and talking about, hey, what do you do? And hey, you'd be a perfect guest on the show. You should come in next week. And then all of a sudden,
here I am, right?
And here you are. Surprise. We're not allowed to say where you work because you're one of those guys.
Well, I try not to be, but tonight, yes.
But your specialty is identity theft, and it drives us bonkers when we hear about these things and we don't know what to do. And here you are, and this is what you do for a living.
This is what I do. I actually do seminars, and I actually talk to employees of large corporations, helping them to understand how their information is exposed, why their information is exposed, and what they can do to help themselves to not be exposed. However, and unfortunately, we are all exposed no matter what, all the time. So
because there's companies out there that conglomerate all our data together that we didn't ask to conglomerate all our data together,
right?
And Equischmax, and then they suck, and yeah.
So just last year in 2016, there were about 13.1 million Americans that had their identities stolen, according to FICO in 2016. That's last year. This year is a completely different story. Completely different outcome.
I think we passed that in January.
Yeah, it's now 12, 13 times more this year potentially that identities have been stolen. So what do we do now?
Well, I guess let's take a quick step
back.
Sit
around with mics in our faces and bitch about it. That's what we do.
Yeah. I got a question because this drives me nuts, Dave, and it drives you nuts. Like, didn't you just get a call or something happened where you tried to buy groceries at 3 a.m. and you got flagged and you got your card shut off?
Yeah, so it was shipped because we've talked about it, and so I couldn't fall asleep.
I got my stuff cut off with shipped too,
and so I'm sitting there and I put my order in and yada yada, and I click submit order, and it comes back card declined, and I'm like, what? No. And then all of a sudden my phone, and I get the text alerts from Bank of America, suspicious activity has been detected, and I'm like, guys, it's me. Is it really all that suspicious that I'm shopping online at 2:00 in the morning?
Was it more than $150?
Oh yeah.
All right then.
It's a grocery trip for me. But
not only that, like I've gotten my card declined getting gas at the corner gas station. I get gas at once a week.
Oh, I told you my favorite was still the day that when I was doing the LinkedIn Pro thing, and so that hit from Mountain View, California, the SoundCloud Pro account from Berlin, Germany, auto renewed, and then my card got declined at the gas station at the corner from the house, and I was like. Your algorithms are the suck.
So that's what I wanted. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, we would love to know what is that trigger when what we think is normal activity gets flagged as suspicious.
Banks, credit unions, institutions, they look for those red flags, time of the day that it's being used, where it's being used. Is it something that's happening that you do normally? You were at the gas station.
They don't bat an eye at the tab we ran up at Selena's on Thursday night.
Right. but like $300.
Traveling.
Hold on,
yeah,
Jared.
you never get it.
Yeah.
But like $300 at GFS the week before Thanksgiving gets declined.
Right.
And I call and I go, it's right by my house. Like I'm buying turkey and stuff.
You go there often?
Twice a year.
Okay. Well, that's a red flag. I use that in quotes.
No, that should be part of their algorithm. I'm there twice a year.
No, but it's in my it's in my vicinity.
It's in your vicinity?
Yeah, it's not like it's Des Moines, Iowa GFS.
It doesn't matter. Your stuff can get taken and used anywhere because it can be exposed at any point in time. You have fraudsters that are walking around with these devices that are scanning your card, the magnetic strip that's on the back of your card. Next thing you know, they're cloning that card and they're using it wherever they want. They'll go to the gas station, use it at the gas pump if they want to.
A friend of mine was just in Ireland and their card got grabbed and then used in the Philippines, like while they were in Ireland.
Yep. I had actually heard a story about a guy that was on a honeymoon in Hawaii, had his card magnetic strip stolen, and then was shared with somebody in Seattle, Washington, in the country, and then again shared because, hey, this card's working, use it, and then used in Philadelphia. So from one part of the country to the other, all around the world, his card got used 13, 14 times.
Jeez.
Are traveler's checks still a thing? No, I'm not being funny.
Carl Malden is dead, so I'm going to go with no.
Yeah, died with him. That makes sense.
I want to be that guy using a traveler's check.
Right. No, but see, that's the thing. Like, how do you, with skimmers and people like with your magnetic strips, is that the chip? Is that why?
Skimmers and skiffers and
EMV
grifters. Oh my.
Was a chip invented to stop that? Because the chip is a pain in the ass. I hate it.
The whole EMV technology, the whole chip technology, that has been in Europe for a number of years already, and their fraud levels are very, very low. Like super, super low, where in the U.S., our fraud levels were just sky high. So as we continue to evolve into this EMV technology that's coming that we're all now using, it's taking a number of years because we're a lot bigger than Europe is. And our banking system is a lot different.
We're chip and signature instead of chip and pin? Or
chip, it's both ways. Chip and signature, chip and pin. How you decide how you want to pay.
Yeah. Mine's chip and signature.
Chip and pin.
I can't do chip and pin.
Weird.
Based on your bank right now, where they are in that technology and implementing it itself.
Now, you know what? I never understood what banks don't. It shouldn't be that difficult to implement this, and I argue about it all the time. I'm just a dummy user, but like,
so am I.
If I'm at the gas station and it's $40,
yeah.
And why can't I turn on a feature or have a feature where it's all of a sudden I see Bank of America?
Yep.
You know, are you at, so it goes to my phone now and I'm doing two factors. So not only did I put my PIN in,
right.
I say green or red. Is this your activity? I would gladly do that all day long. Are you buying X amount of things from Amazon? Are you buying Slim Jims from Amazon?
It was verified by Visa for a while. I think MasterCard has something too. It's basically like, well, you're e-commercing. Mm-hmm. It will redirect you to another web page to put in a password to continue.
And say, I am not a robot, and you pick certain pictures of that. Or
which is great.
Yep.
I mean, like multi-factor authentication for like just regular point-of-sale usage, I would sign up happily for that.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
then
and it doesn't seem that difficult. It doesn't seem that difficult to implement.
No, well, other than you're waiting on that thing to come through, and what happens if that message doesn't get delivered to you, and then you're standing there at the gas pump and
or McDonald's in the drive-through.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing. But I know one of the especially because that's like the chip is great and everything, but it doesn't do anything for where the vast majority of this fraud takes place, which is the online world.
Right.
And so that's one of the things I know Amex did it 10 years ago when I was still using them, and I know Capital One does it where you can go get a one-time use credit card number that is tied to your account, but you can only use it once. Right. So if you're going to do like a transaction somewhere you're not familiar with, you can go ahead and grab and go.
I have a lot of folks that'll actually have their main account somewhere, but then they'll have that purchase card strictly for that online side.
Yep.
So they're not putting their general monies out there. They're just putting the money onto like a prepaid card. They use that for that online purchase, and that's protecting them at the same time.
Yeah, but those fees for those prepaid cards suck.
It depends on the bank you're using. I'm just going to say.
What's the cost of security, Bob?
Dude, I got that.
How many cards do I need?
I got like $100 Amex gift card from like work, like a couple. Like the fees on it were
that has $327 on it left that you're still carrying around.
Like $30 in fees. Like you tried to do it like one. Like okay, what do I need? It's $112.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can just dump this card.
But banks are doing their own prepaid cards now too.
Right.
So you don't have to use another competitor's card, so you don't have to log in twice or what have you. You actually can have everything under one spot if you really wanted to do it that way. Make it easier on yourself.
So, I mean, I'm a pretty, like, I'll consider myself, even though I'm tech savvy, I'm pretty lazy when it comes to all this stuff. Like, I'm pretty much, just call me if I get breached, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, what pre-action or what things should I take advantage of or do? You know, because, like, again, I'm pretty much...
So if you become exposed, if your identity does get stolen?
Just to not get it stolen.
There's nothing we really can do except keep your head on a swivel. And where you're using your card, how you're using your card, and all that good stuff. So when you go into an ATM machine, you know, you've seen the stories out there, right? Where someone puts their card in and next thing you know, their numbers are exposed. Well, there was a skimming device on that ATM.
Yep.
I tell a lot of folks, you know, when you go to an ATM, tug on it. Tug on that little where you put your ATM card. Don't go Incredible Hulk on it, you know. But you know, just put your, just tug on it, and if nothing comes off, there it is. But you know, that's a way to protect yourself. Don't use Redbox. I'm just saying.
What's wrong with Redbox?
Oh, they made a special skimmer.
There's a special skimmer device for Redbox.
I had no idea.
And wasn't that?
I never used it before, but
the deep skimmer, like the one that actually went inside the machine,
right?
Wasn't that one?
Yep. Right.
Well, and that's the thing. And they say the new one now is if you're like at an ATM or something you're not familiar with, or even if you are, turn your Bluetooth on.
Huh.
Because a lot of them are now running, Bluetooth devices and Bluetooth tower, and you'll see an unknown Bluetooth network or Bluetooth device.
Right. There was actually an article 2 weeks ago about gas station skimmers, and apparently every single one of them have the same Bluetooth ID.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And they have an app now for Android where you can download and it'll check for that like Bluetooth
to see if
identification.
that's the right one or not. Yep.
Interesting.
This seems very that's a lot of precautions. I'm just saying, I got to get gas and get the hell out.
Carry cash.
It's cheaper anyways if you use cash, right? Then you use your points at whatever grocery store you go to. Hey, it's even cheaper that way too. But another way that I help folks to understand how to protect themselves, like you were asking, is there are wallets out there. We all, a bunch of guys in here. Your wallets you can actually buy a wallet that has a chip in it, an RFID chip.
Yeah.
Radio frequency ID. So you can get that to help block those signals that are out there as well.
I've got mine actually. And there are no I guess some credit cards have RFIDs in them, right? Like
some of them do, yes.
Tap to pay, MasterCards, and things like that, right?
Right. Using your phone on that point, using the Bluetooth on that.
I got rid of my wallet. I just carry around a lead box.
Faraday cage.
Everything I carry a Faraday cage in my pocket. That's it.
The last thing, we all walk around with our wallets or purses or what have you, and next thing you know no longer shop at this place, or you no longer go to this gym, or you have a membership at this place, and you still have those cards and numbers in your wallet. Take those things out. Because you're not using them anymore. And you may not have closed it. You may not have closed that card down. Very nice. You just cracked open a beer. I love it. Take those things out of your wallet. If you're not using them anymore, just take them out, shred them. Don't keep them. Because your card number itself will expire. But the card number doesn't expire because they just replace it with the same number, just with a different CVV number and different. It's easy to figure out that expiration date as it is. So, those are the kind of things you want to do to protect yourself. Always keep your head on a swivel.
So we've talked about really credit cards, right? And so credit cards are one way to do it, but really identity theft is a lot bigger than just.
It is a lot bigger than that. So, it's all about your social security number, your driver's license number, your address. There are a number of ways that these fraudsters can get at your information.
I saw there's an article this week that came out about one of the unintended consequences of Equifax is that now they have all that information. Like you can go, there's an Equifax subunit called something about payroll. Mm-hmm. So you could go in there and then plug in the information you got out of the breach, and now you have my payroll history.
Wow.
Like there's all kinds of, they get that database, they have everything they need to start compromising you in other ways if they want to take the time to do it.
Mm-hmm. One of the other dumb things just popped in my mind. I didn't want to not talk about it. Is like the stupid thing, like when you put your GPS in your car and you put home and you put your home address in, then you got your garage door open around, so somebody steals your car and they just put
your
it
home address should always be like the 7-Eleven that's right down the street.
Yeah, and I didn't, and I thought about that, as I was driving the other day, going, God, I plugged in my home address again. I'm like, I know where I'm at when I'm 5 miles around my house.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically not an if we get our identity compromised. It's more a when now, right?
Absolutely.
So what do you do once that happens? Like, how do you like clean up the mess?
You want to find some type of a monitoring service that's going to help you be more proactive.
Not run by Equifax.
Not run by Equifax.
Or that's reselling Equifax.
That's reselling, right. You want to get into something that's going
Which one was reselling Equifax?
LifeLock?
LifeLock. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to get into that monitoring service that's going to always watch your social security number, always watch your address. So if something changes within your credit bureau itself, you can actually have monitoring services that'll monitor your credit card numbers as well.
Interesting.
Right? So you have that ability to always be in the known. So you're more being proactive with that approach instead of, oh my God, it just happened. So you can get that red flag. You apply for something for a car loan, for a home, and you get that message that's saying, hey, your credit was just checked through TransUnion and or Equifax or Experian.
Are you recommending freezing everything until you need something?
If you freeze everything, then you actually have to call back again and try to get that freeze lifted from all three. So that's going to take some time because you're going to sit on hold forever. But if it does happen, then yes, you do want to place that block on those report on your credit bureaus until it's all rectified. And that monitoring service that you may be using will have folks in the office that will actually help you take those steps to restore your credit back to where it was originally.
Interesting. Is that the only thing you can do, though? I mean, is there anything like, say, it happened to me tonight?
You can live in a box and just not use anything.
The only safe computer is the unplugged computer.
Yes,
air gapped.
Yeah. Because the more you use the financial institutions, the more you use online, or you're always exposing your information. Even folks that write checks for bills, you're sending your account information to somebody to wherever. You don't know what they're doing with that information to begin with. So even writing a check, you're exposing your information.
So how big of a problem is it? Do you know how many Americans each year are compromised, or what are the numbers on that?
Last year was 13.1, according to FICO.
13.1 million people?
13.1 million people had their identity stolen, according to FICO.
That's what, 5% of the population?
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. Right. That's not including children. Because fraudsters are stealing kids' identities now as well.
Oh, yeah, because they've got perfect credit history, right?
They have no credit because that means they have perfect credit. Exactly. Now, a friend of mine actually had her identity stolen from when she was a minor from unfortunately, her uncle.
Oh.
So he used her information to get into a car loan, and when she went to apply for college to get those student loans, decline, because her information was stolen. She had no idea.
Is that the biggest people who are doing this? Is it mostly family members, or is it organized crime, or like where's all this coming from?
Take your pick.
Oh,
take your pick, because it can happen anywhere to anybody, and it's all about just being the right person and doing it, being responsible, because fraudsters are out there.
Well, Dave always made fun of me because that one year I went through like 12. I would never really got broken, but they would mail me a new card saying, "We think that you did. Here's a new card."
Yeah.
With the new bank, I'm on the same card. It's kind of like, I don't know if they're being less proactive or just less activity. That's what, like, I don't understand that damn algorithm. Obviously, I don't understand algorithms, period. But the one that says, like, hey, you might need a new card,
Yeah. So banks will do that, though. They will say, hey, we feel and we think that your card may have been compromised, so here's a new one. Then you have to go through that painstaking process of changing everything that's automatic pay through that card.
Right.
That's a part of the process. That's what your banker should help you get through if that does happen.
I am so happy with Amex. Like, this happened to me a little while ago with my business Amex. And Amex sent me a new card and said, we will continue to honor any transaction from any place that you have used it at before.
Right.
So that was probably the most amazing thing to help me get through that into a new card.
Right. And I think Amex is kind of ahead of the ball game with helping customers out in that regard. So, kudos to Amex in that regard.
So what's the government doing? Like, can I call the police and say, hey, I just had my identity stolen?
You can. You want to file a police report if it does happen. That's one of the things, because then your bank is probably going to want to see that police report number itself, saying, yes, my identity was stolen. This is what happened. They'll take the report. What they do with it, they'll probably send it to the FBI anyways.
And is the FBI doing is something on a government level? What are they doing to stop this?
They need to gather as much information on how it's happening and where it's happening, so that they can hone in as to where.
They're not knocking on doors going.
No, they're not knocking on doors, but as far as using the technology that's out there, they can hone in to see where it's happening the most.
Because you talked about that card getting sold across what I'm assuming to be the dark web.
You got it.
And they're not doing anything to stop that, and they're not. you'd think they would have people on the inside trying to infiltrate it, and they would see these things happening. But it seems like either they don't care, they don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Boys in the Hood. Either they don't know, they don't show, or they don't care what's going on in the hood.
And we're never
the dark web.
Yeah,
Sorry, while we're talking about being careful with credit card transactions, I have to go ahead and buy these tickets for Star Wars: The Last Jedi right now.
Is that what you were doing the last 10 minutes?
That's exactly what I'm doing.
All right, fine. I know I was going to yell at you, but that's worth it.
That is awesome. You've been so intrigued by this segment. I'm in.
No, I've been listening and commenting.
I'm just playing.
But then Facebook sent me a reminder that said, "Hey, don't forget, Last Jedi tickets are going on sale." Okay, I love you guys, mean it, but yeah, I got to do that.
Wasn't the trailer supposed to drop tonight?
It is during Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
that's now. When will then be now?
That was an hour ago.
Yeah,
unfortunately. The last thing that you guys want to do, just so I can finish my thoughts up, is if it does happen, also contact the Better Business Bureau about which company had exposed your information.
Interesting. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, call the Better Business Bureau so they have records of it as well, so then they can have their investigations.
I want to see the file on Target and Sonic and
Home Depot and
right.
Whole Foods,
the U.S. Postal Service,
Target.
and
no kidding. Obviously, you don't want to be found online because otherwise you tell us where. You're. But is there any Twitter handle or anything you want us to follow or anything to read up on?
All I ask for everybody to do is just pay attention. Take some of these things with a grain of salt. But if you have questions, contact your bank, contact your banker. Had that conversation with them. And how do I do this? What should I do? What are my options? So that would be what I would leave you guys with tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate the time. Appreciate coming on late notice.
Hey, it's all good. I love it.
Matt Fox, Identity Protection. Great. We haven't had we've 217 episodes. The first time we've ever talked about this. So it's kind of or had an expert in talking about it. So
Well, because we talk about the breaches and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
we don't
right.
actually talk about prevention.
An expert that knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with Dr. Hook, Jeremiah, and Sven from the team formerly known as DailyDetroit.com. This is the IT and the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
Did they change names during one?
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT and the D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back, segment 3. This is the IT and the D Show. Hell of a conversation during break. Wish we could have recorded it. Just kidding.
No need to record it whatsoever.
Glad we haven't.
Hanging out in Studio 1 here in Podcast Detroit, beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob the sales guy, Dave the geek. Nuri took a break, had to get out of here. But Randy, I do the Twitter's Walkers in the house. Find us online, itinthed.com.
And our tickets have been acquired.
Yeah, and
We're all set for opening
the
night.
posters out. They're just waiting for the trailer to hit.
Yeah.
And then none of us will talk.
Nope.
I love how you just take 10-minute breaks during segments to buy.
It was 5. I timed myself.
Right.
And that was mostly because their website sucks, but I got it done.
Timing yourself during breaks makes me think you had the kind of boss that wondered why you took long bathroom breaks. Yes, sir. I only went for 5 minutes.
Angry Birds. I was always in the bathroom playing Angry Birds.
You can get through at least two levels of Angry Birds in 5 minutes.
That's true. That's true.
So we got Jeremiah here, Dr. Hook, Sven from DailyDetroit.com, the Daily Detroit Happy Hour podcast, and whatever the hell else you guys are launching next week. But welcome, gentlemen. Always a pleasure having you on.
Things. We just keep launching stuff. It's kind of like a Monty Python movie, and just at first, they launch like the cows over the wall, and then we just keep launching things all day long.
Whatever
paddle
works.
ball. It's all I need. It's paddle ball and this chair. And that's all I need. It's paddle ball, a chair, and the thermos.
Well, I mean, I gotta give you guys prop and a little bit of credit. You guys are staying away from the BS clickbaity stuff that a lot of people are kind of trying to make a living on. And
did not publish a headline about a mom going to jail for
Right.
not vaccinating her kid yet.
Right. But you're getting tons of flack from it from the establishment, which has been interesting.
Well, it has been, but it's interesting because we find that we're not alone in this.
But you're not doing the rosy everything grand look at we.
No, we had a very serious story about a pair of abductions that happened over the last week near the Russell Industrial Center. Really tragic story, really. Abductions and sexual assaults. Those are things that people need to know about. But taking it in a respectful way, taking it in this is what's happening, this is what you need to know, and this is how you need to protect yourself.
It's not if it bleeds, it leads. It's not that.
Right, exactly. But one of the groups...
Click here. The top 8 murders in Detroit. Number 7 will blow your mind.
Right.
Wow.
On the other hand, maybe we should go that route.
We got healthcare bills to pay, right?
Just tasteless.
Seriously, though.
But one group that actually is dealing with some of those same things about being recognized by the media, we had a great conversation. In fact, Mr. Phillips, you were in on the conversation as well over at the Podcast Detroit studio or Southwest Detroit studio with the new Hispanic Media Group. Really interesting group of 4 publications, 2 radio stations and 2 print publications.
Well, let's name them, shall we?
Yes.
Latino Press, Nuestro Detroit, 1480 AM La Explosiva, which is my favorite name. I love saying that, La Explosiva. And Zamora Broadcasting, which operates 1310 AM La Z. And so they're
1310, wasn't that DFN?
Yes.
I think you're right.
Yes, it was.
DFN gone?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, long gone.
Oh, long gone, man.
That's not that long ago.
Ticket suplex.
No, DFN lasted a while.
Eternity, though, you know?
It's been maybe a month or two because DFN was around recently.
I get those ones confused.
I could have sworn.
It's been a while. Anyway, they...
oh, no, that's 11:30. 1310 was ESPN. That's right. Never mind.
Still.
Yeah. Go carry on.
So, these are small outlets that are basically headquartered in Southwest Detroit, catering to the local Spanish-speaking Hispanic population, broadcasting largely in Spanish. Or Latino Press is a Spanish-language newspaper, and they're basically banding together to pool resources to try to get their story out and synergies and all that sort of thing. And it struck me earlier, we were talking about data breaches and how to keep yourself safe and all this technology and everything. These are not like high-tech publications. I mean, they were telling us, they were making the point that, these are people who, many of them, obviously Spanish is their first language.
Still listen to AM radio.
They still listen to AM radio. They want print publications in their hands.
My friend is the editor of Wochenpost, which is the German-American newspaper published all in German that my grandfather subscribed to.
Is that around here?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know there was one.
He runs it out of Troy. He's the editor-in-chief.
Wow, we should maybe
we
consider
should
that.
have him on the show.
That'd be a good one. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. No,
let's get him on.
He's he's from
broadcast from the Dakota Rathskeller.
Yes, that sounds like a
Dakota Inn. Yep. No, is that cheesy or something?
No. We'll talk offline.
There's a backstory. But it was, it was interesting. I mean, they. The sort of reason that they're doing this was pretty clear right off the bat. That community is really galvanized and kind of terrorized right now that they're going to be deported, sent home under the new administration, or they are their friends or whatever. And so there's a huge need, they were explaining, to get information out to the people about resources that are available, and these are things that people they're sort of living in the shadows, a lot of these people.
And really getting through misconceptions too, because a lot of these folks are actually American citizens, but people just don't make those connections, right? But it's also interesting too
they did make way too many awkwardly uncomfortable jokes about feeling at home in the jail cells.
Context. The studio down in Southwest Detroit is actually in a drunk tank. Because it is
the old 3rd District police station.
Yes, police station. And so
they still... Precinct,
Third Precinct. They still have the jail cells. They haven't torn them out. Mm-hmm. They use them for artist studios, right? Down there.
No, they've welded them open. They're like little co-working spaces. Yeah.
It's a special kind of co-working.
Yes.
But they're very popular.
Yeah.
So it was interesting because, especially around things like the Tigers, and there's a huge Spanish speaking community that are Tigers fans, and you've got folks like Miguel Cabrera, and you got all these other people that people are fans of, but they don't. Mainstream media doesn't realize that this whole thing is here, and it's actually a growing population.
And they said, I think the estimate's now like 280,000 is the size of the local.
280,000 Spanish speakers in Metro Detroit.
Right. So it's probably below the population level of the Arab American / Chaldean community here in Detroit, but still pretty big. I mean, you think about it. I mean, another point that they made was that, Elias Gonzalez, who's the publisher of Latino Press, he's been here, I think, 25 years.
Isn't that the guy that got deported from Clinton back in the day?
No, that was
Elias Gonzalez.
No. Oh, you mean from Cuba?
Elian.
Different.
Elian. No. This guy's from Chile, actually.
Okay.
But he talked a lot about, his experience of moving here 25 years ago from Chile again, and seeing these people who back then were starting up businesses that nowadays are these huge, very successful, franchise businesses in Southwest Detroit or wherever they may be, and that's pretty cool. I mean, if you think about Southwest Detroit, it's outside of the downtown core, it's probably the most economically vibrant part of the city.
Sure,
I'd say.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they have amazing food.
Yeah.
Taqueria Lupita.
But I mean, it's not just the food. There are family-owned, like tire shops that are very successful. I mean, you're starting to see
Not so
billboards for
delicious.
them on
No, not so delicious.
Not
Tire
as
shops,
tasty.
not as yummy.
A little rubbery.
But I mean,
Although I'm pretty sure Taqueria could put some sauce on it that would make you eat a tire.
but grocery markets too. I mean, the Honeybee.
I've been there a couple times.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So good stuff. Check it out on the Daily Detroit Happy Hour podcast.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just a ton of things happening around the city. One thing we thought was interesting, too, was this thing called Detroit DETXTOL, which is Detroit by Toledo.
Does not roll off the
Detroit
tongue.
X Toledo, yeah.
Yeah, it does not roll off the tongue whatsoever.
DETX. I had to say it to myself a few times.
It's DETXTOL.
It's like a prescription drug or something.
Exactly. Oh, had to take Detextol for that one.
Side effects include nausea and diarrhea.
But you get a hot girlfriend and a puppy.
May cause anal bleed.
May cause anal leakage.
Or death. I love that
Well,
one.
I mean, if it's Toledo, it's Tony Paco, so I mean that's gonna that'll get a lot of ills.
So my question about that, and I haven't been to Toledo in a long time, but the last time I did go to Toledo, my wife and I went down there. I mean, this is probably 10 years ago. Went to go see an exhibit at the Toledo Art Museum, I think it's called, which is a fantastic museum if you've never been there, by the way. And then we figured, well, let's go find a place to eat, and we'll spend the afternoon in Toledo and see what's what. And there wasn't nothing. I mean,
Well,
it
so
was,
we were there.
yeah, you're in the wrong part of town.
Yeah, we were there start of the year.
But we drove all over the place. Like we drove.
Well, and
into
he's also
downtown
saying that's
and-
10 years ago.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so
I mean,
we were
so-
there earlier in the year for Fantasticon, and we found all the great bars.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we had a phenomenal
I'm glad to hear
time.
that.
And what ties into this actually is that this event, and I know you all remember Joanna Dewicki and some other folks. Well, they're all involved in this. Amanda Lawan, because the event's at Bamboo Detroit.
Right.
But it's about place-based entrepreneurship. So one of the things is that Toledo's actually gotten itself quite a bar district, as I'm sure you guys have found. And
Oh,
part
yeah,
of
we
it,
found it.
if there's a bar district,
I'll have to get a map from you guys next, later after the show.
Just honestly, it's right around where the Mudhens play.
Downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's actually right down the street from the art gallery.
I mean,
and
it
in the
was
science
crazy
center.
because
There's
we
a
were-
Tony Paco's downtown.
But
like a
we
different
drove
one.
into downtown again. This is 10 years ago, so I'm sure things have changed. But it was just
Well,
like,
think Detroit 10 years
it
ago.
was
Yeah.
it was a lot less run down than Detroit, but it was way deader than
Yeah.
Detroit.
No, I mean, it's like I said, we did. That was, yeah. Oh my God, did we have fun down there?
well, I think that Bob and Dave were born with the natural ability of radar, being able to radar to any bar.
Exactly.
possible.
We have Bardar.
We had fun in
Bardar.
Perrysburg, Ohio.
Oh yeah,
For
that
a
was
podcast conference.
I saw the pictures; they were epic, Calvin. But one of the things is about place-based entrepreneurship. So one of the things that's helping Detroit and Toledo come back is the idea of restaurants and businesses that serve local areas and all that kind of stuff. Really is leading the charge. Yes, a lot of the headlines come around Little Caesars and these big arenas and all that other stuff. But when we talk about the turnaround, right? Ford Field, Comerica Park, that was built a while ago. Mm-hmm. But it didn't really kick things off. I mean, it made an attractive district. But if you look at places
But
like
people still
Cornell-
drove in, went to a game, drove out.
right. And it's the small
Those
businesses.
construction workers gave me a lot of tips when I was bartending, like during the day too, like at lunch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they'd come in and jack. It was nothing for them to jack 4 beers and then go back to work. Yep, got to get back up on the crane and walk on the girders.
That's encouraging.
High above the field. Yeah, I know. Seriously.
But place-based entrepreneurship is a thing, and that's happening this Thursday with our friends at Bamboo Detroit. And Mark Pinnell is putting it together. It's actually I made fun of him on the Daily Detroit News Bite podcast for being an executive coach or executive strategist. But his title is more lame than he is. He's actually a pretty cool guy. So it's exciting to see these kind of connections and things happening. And I like that we have a little bit more time.
As long as nobody ever refers, as long as I never hear the phrase "sister city" again in my life, I'll be perfectly happy.
That was a thing for a while, wasn't it?
was.
Wasn't there like some Japanese
It was
city or
Japanese,
something?
yeah. Or
Well-
German or Japanese, one of the two.
Or both,
Right.
possibly.
Well, I know, like Toledo had. I'm putting myself out on a limb. I'm not sure it's still a going concern, but they had they're Glass City.
Yeah.
They also had a big solar energy company down there for
Let's
a while.
be honest, they had a Libby plant.
The Libby
not
plant.
really,
I have a friend who works for a large audiobook company in the Toledo area that they supply libraries. In fact, I was just at my local library today, and they had a sign for their audiobooks.
Wow.
They do, which is kind of cool. Kind of a weird thing that probably people don't know.
I
Yeah.
think I'm more impressed like someone actually walked into a library.
I use my local library all the time. And I got kids, like young kids. I get books for them to read bedtime stories and stuff.
Yeah,
And I check out books.
We have tablets with ebooks.
Support your local library.
Right.
He wants to slap you so hard right now.
He just wants to use the computers because they have the masked IP addresses.
Right.
I feel like, I don't come on the show all that often, but I feel like when I do, I'm like the Luddite. I talk about when I was reading the Sunday newspaper the other day. Oh, wait, sorry.
Remember what show you're on.
No. Sunday newspaper, you're fine. Talk about reading something like on a Tuesday, we might have a problem.
Well, it's IT in the T, which is for tablet for Sven's Stone tablet.
Right.
See, actually, he submits stories with like cuneiform,
Chisel, and
chisel. Yes.
So what's this? So the Q line still hasn't been straight. Like it got in an accident now.
Yeah, it did. It did. A semi truck trailer tried to cut in front of it, and like left its ass end out and whack, and took off like a huge chunk of the front. It's just been like one thing after another with the Q line. And then one thing that was interesting that came up was the CEO
That when people had to start paying for it, nobody went.
Well, that's pretty much.
Well, not only that, like I got I downloaded the app just to play around with it, and I was getting push notifications like mad, like it's open now. And I tried to shut them off. There's nowhere to shut them off. I'm like, all right, uninstall.
And you're gone.
Bye.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny was whenever there's a problem with it, they always send the push
they'll
notification
solve it?
in all caps. Yeah. So it's like it's screaming at you.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
So was there anybody on the queue line when it happened?
There were a couple. In fact, a reader even sent me photos.
Really?
From it. So, there are people who use it, and it is used, but I thought it was really telling. An interview came out with Jamie Dimon, the CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, talked about the reason why J.P. Morgan Chase funded, because they put like $10 million or something into this thing. A bunch of big companies put a bunch of money into this. And they said that the reason they built it was to maybe one day connect college kids with the bars in downtown. And I couldn't help but this is the most tone-deaf interview.
That's what Detroit needs.
Right. Like the tone-deaf interview I could have heard, because we have so many transit issues. And then for him to come out and talk about let's connect the college kids and spend literally
He's trying to...
Let's turn downtown Detroit into an entertainment mecca. I know.
Yeah.
Let's build a train that doesn't go to the people that need the surface.
So speaking of that, I went to the Little Caesars, the dojo.
The dojo.
The dojo?
Yeah,
the pizzerina?
Did you eat at Shea Kid Rock?
No, I did not. I passed on the Kid Rock eating. We ate before.
Did you try anything there?
No, we had beer.
Okay. Was it like $20 for the beer?
11 a can.
A can?
For Bud or Miller Lite?
Bud for 24-ounce Bud Lights, it was $11 or $11 for a 16-ounce Goose.
Bargain.
Ooh.
But getting in the parking lot, piece cake.
Yeah.
And there's a little they tried to recreate that tunnel, but you don't have to go through all that hell that was known as the Joe Louis parking garage.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare on so many different
That
levels.
tunnel went at bottlenecks. You're just standing there for hours.
This was actually, but it was the steepest parking garage I've ever parked at in my entire life, Europe included.
You ever been to the?
If you had a stick shift, you would have been in trouble getting up the parking garage.
You ever been in the the Greektown parking garage? Greektown Casino, now called Jack, I guess, but there's a corkscrew ramp in the middle of it. You ever been on that?
I want to say yes.
You can kind of pull almost negative G's going down it if you
right.
It's kind of cool.
But the arena,
just put it in neutral, let it go.
The arena, flawless.
Yeah.
If you used to go into the Palace or the Joe and there's a concession stands, there's no concession stands. There's little bars and plazas and little cool little Labatt is a
a pop-up card of some sort. Yeah.
Oh, it's not for a man of my stature. That's a. You gotta. I don't even. Sven
you
would
did Hell
probably.
in the Cell last night, right?
I did.
How was the crowd for that?
It wasn't packed.
Well, I understand
it was a loud crowd. It was a good wrestling crowd.
Good wrestling crowd, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Speaking of crowds, Dave, you and I noticed on the television a lot of empty seats.
Oh, at the Wings opener,
right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also
Yeah,
for the Pistons preseason.
Well, and
it was not sold out. It was not sold out last night.
Well, I mean,
but the Wings home opener was, and they actually released a statement about it. That look, new arena, everybody's they're more interested in checking out in the arena than they are watching the game. Well, and that doesn't surprise me.
So here's a little life hack, and this is something we giggled about for about 30 seconds. I got the ParkWiz app. Because they said, "Hey, prepay for your parking and probably
ParkWiz,
be easier."
Does that mean you can pee in park?
Cheese, it's more less pee, more cheese.
Okay.
So I got the ParkWiz app. I prepaid for parking, and I go up to the guy in the front. I hold up the thing, which is a barcode that he's supposed to scan to let me up, and he just looks at it and goes, "Oh, go ahead." So of course Mark goes, "Just take a screenshot of it, and we'll use that for the rest of the year anytime we come back here."
Right.
And I'm like, they didn't have the system in place to scan the prepaid parking, which I found to be interesting.
Jared and I were talking about it a couple weeks ago, just how fast that arena came together.
But
it
crazy.
Was insane.
Mm-hmm. It's a steep, those steps. It's double steps. It's a steep arena. Walking all the way to the main floor. And the weird thing,
because Joe Louis was, especially the outside, was really noted for this. That was
I'm talking inside walking down, in the seats. It's steep.
But that was a complaint back when Joe Louis opened.
It was the worst. That was the worst, those steps.
Especially because it was on the riverfront in the wintertime. They would ice over.
Right.
Yeah.
But calling the entry gates portals was kind of bizarre to me. I don't know where they got that from. You can't just put
Harry Potter,
Gate 7,
1980s fantasy novel.
For real though, you're at Portal 19.
Choose your adventure.
But I mean, we walked around it 10 minutes, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gigantic.
Well, and speaking of the parking, one thing I've been talking to some different folks and working on a story about is that a lot of the outside lots actually aren't seeing a bump with the opening of the arena. The parking is so nice on the inside with that app and everything that people are doing their best to not park at the surface lots. And they're not seeing the bump. The non-Illich lots are basically they're kind of getting strangled a little bit.
But it's man. If you don't like commercialization, it's the Meyer entrance.
Every
Budweiser
time
beer garden.
I bike by, I look at all the crazy entrances and signs and everything.
Blue Cross paid mad whatever happened. There was Blue Cross everywhere when we walked in. That's all you saw.
Isn't there a car on one of the entrances? I think it's a GM car or a Chevrolet car.
Yeah, Chevy, because there's a Chevy Plaza.
Yeah.
And it's just one of their cars is just hanging on the side of the building at that.
But if you're a Pistons fan, not a big Wings fan, you're not real happy.
Well, really, yeah, I mean, so feel shoehorned.
It's all Wings, dude. There's nothing Pistons about it.
Well, they were a late addition.
I'd say that was a last minute shoehorn make it happen.
But you would think they would be hey, give us something Bad Boy statues because Pistons have a pretty.
I saw some Dave Bing manhole covers.
Yeah, but that's outside.
I mean, the Pistons moved down from. The Pistons moved down from Auburn Hills after 30 years up there at the Palace?
No, 88 it opened. 88, 89.
Yeah,
so
30 years.
29 years.
Oh, my God.
Newsflash.
Bob.
Newsflash.
Bob, you're not young.
Yeah. No shit.
You're not a millennial.
But, I mean, if you assume that a lot of the people that went to the Palace to go see the Pistons play are from that kind of area up there, Lake Orion, Oxford, Auburn Hills, Troy, whatever, a lot of them are not, frankly, going to make the drive all the way downtown.
Yeah. I live in Auburn Hills. Yes, I do.
I'm saying 3 days a week. Them aren't.
No, don't.
Bob will.
Don't tell me how I travel.
I forgot that you are
Auburn
with a capital E.
Auburn Hills.
Bob is the man of the people.
Yeah,
I totally.
I forgot. My bad.
I'd rather go downtown and see a game than.
Yeah, but not.
I lived in. Auburn Hills.
A lot of the people up there probably won't. A lot of those people are probably. Frankly, still they still think Detroit. Oh, I'm not going to go get.
You're bundling people.
I'm going to get carjacked. Huh?
We're individuals, Sven. We're not everybody.
I'm sure there's still a lot of paraphernalia left at the Palace. All the Piston stuff that's still there. So once it does,
well, and they may be trying to figure that out.
They'll probably start.
I'm sure
bringing stuff down.
But when I found out there's a Pistons game tonight after Hell in Cell yesterday, and that thing was the set was gigunda.
The other thing about the Pistons, though, don't forget, is that I barely pay attention to the NBA lately, but they've sucked for years. I mean, so I don't think they were coming close to selling out the Palace in recent years.
It would have been half at best.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I read an interesting article, it was in Deadspin or something, about how actually the Pistons have been losing money and losing a lot of money. They're one of the only two NBA teams that lost money.
See, now, how do they lose money? You own the Palace, you own the concessions, you own the parking. That's what I didn't understand this business deal, because if you own concessions, you own parking, you own the building, per se, why would you lose all of that?
No, because the taxpayers fronted it, so it's no longer a capital expenditure or cost. So
but it was
the Detroit taxpayers basically are pulling the Pistons to profitability, is what's happening, because all that capital cost, all that expenditure, all that upkeep for the stadium is all off their books now. It's all done through the partnership.
Bob with the DDA speech in 3, 2,
I'm not saying nothing.
1.
I'm not saying a word. You don't know how DDA works, Gerald. Let's have a talk after the show's over.
I'm very familiar how the Detroit DDA works. I don't know how the Auburn Hills one works, but I'm very familiar with how the DDA works. I'm very familiar with how these tax structures have been constructed for this particular arena, which has been very, very quickly implemented.
I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of public funds that went into this. That was surprising. Usually it's, and that was the thing with the Palace. Davidson paid for that thing every penny for himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And frankly, that's a model that's
Mock
laudable.
Star Wars, George Lucas funded the prequels all himself. These guys apparently can't build their own building.
Right.
But that's okay.
No, but the experience, flawless. I haven't sat in the riser seats yet. It's sitting on the main floor. I mean, they packed you in like sardines. Total uncomfortable experience. So I want to get normal seats, see what happens. But I mean, the concourse, they redefined what the modern day sporting concourse looks like. Like, I thought the Minnesota Wild Arena was cool. Because it's kind of like that alpine ski lodge feel. Like, you didn't feel like you were in an arena. Like, you don't feel like you're in an arena.
So this feels different from Comerica Park or Ford Field, even.
You're in a ballpark at Comerica. Ford Field, you're in a giant football stadium.
Well, what I like about this place is
it's very hidden. Like, it's like, oh, there's like a door there, and then you like, you know what I mean? It's not like wide open to the arena. Like, you feel like you're just kind of hanging out.
Well, and one thing I do like is that the restaurants, especially along Woodward, they're all open on non-game nights.
I'm dying to go to Mike's Pizzeria. That looked phenomenal.
Yeah, my friend Devin went there. He loved it.
Yeah,
absolutely
really?
Loved it. Thought it was great. We've got a complete review of all the major restaurants coming later this week on Daily Detroit. He went to every single one.
# cheap plug. And
always cheap plugs.
I keep waiting for
his expense bill is going to be like $3,000. That is I'm not kidding. Like,
that Kid Rock, expensive, dude.
I keep waiting for somebody to write like a Guy Fieri style takedown of the new Kid Rock restaurant. Remember that when they
Sven, it's not like you don't write for a website or something.
I don't.
No, but I couldn't imagine like eating like $11 for a beer alone, and I think we had like 3 beers each, and then we did a shot of whiskey.
A bud or that level of beer should never cost double digits ever.
But it's 24 ounce, so I mean,
it should still not. It should even be high single digits,
right? But even in an arena or something like that, I feel like a Bud or
I give him
a Miller Lite should be.
I'll give him a solid A on selection and different. Like Little Caesars pizza, a hot and ready was $15. Wow. We were betting it was 20.
So that goes back to the thing I was getting at about. They opened up this in the middle of the city, and I think especially bringing the Pistons down was kind of a ploy to like get a lot of Detroiters out, like, hey, your basketball team is back. Basketball's huge out.
Come spend $15 on a hot and ready.
But it's not.
But at that price point, just stop at the Little Caesars on Warren, get yourself a $5 and walk it in with you.
I know that one very well. I live right by that one.
I mean, we ate before because I'm like,
Yeah, I would totally.
Because that's the thing. You don't come there and sit. Like, the one thing I don't think is, hey, let's go to a hockey game and then sit down and have dinner. It's an option there.
Yeah,
right. But again, experience A+. By the ceiling with the lights that like mocked the lighting from like each wrestler had their own special lights in it. The ceiling, like you could do the light show and program it. Dude, that was so cool. I mean, just the small and those screens, man, crystal clear. Like I've
Biggest
never
in the NHL.
I've never seen like we had to look up and kind of break our neck a little bit to see the screens. But
You could see the teeth flying out with every check. In
Right.
Don't they have TVs on the inside? So if folks that are higher up, they have the big TVs, but on the inside they have the smaller TVs, so you don't have to crank your neck so much.
The way they set it up last night, I was on the main floor. You had to crank your neck, but I was on the main floor.
Yeah, I think for the Red Wings games and such, I think they actually have smaller TVs on the inside, so you don't have to crank.
But I was scared as hell for I was looking across the arena, and it's like 4 or 5 levels, and like the guy on the top, there's like 6 rows on the top, very, very top, and he's standing up, and I'm like, the way it looked for me, like he's gonna fall all the way down, like straight down, because it's steep, and you look at it, and it's just like it's just this weird optical illusion with your eyes.
To me, it sounds like it does. I mean, it sounds like they based it a lot on the Air Canada Center, up in Toronto, which was, I mean, it's a phenomenal place to watch games because even if you're up in the third bowl, you're essentially right over the ice, and then you think about that, and the view is
there's an overhang, and I'm afraid of heights. I can sit on that thing to save my life.
Well, they did do a lot of traveling. It kind of took pieces from a lot of different arenas around the country and implemented it into the LCA.
Pieces of arena for Pizza Arena?
There you go.
It didn't look like they had a lot of suites, but I think all the suites were full. Like the Palace had 3 levels of suites. Like the upper, I don't think they did that upper suite.
Those were the worst at the Joe. Those were the absolute worst. Yeah.
But hey, we're going to wrap things up here for episode 217 of the IT and the D Show. I'd like to thank Matt Fox. I'd like to thank Jeremiah and Sven from DailyDetroit.com. Also like to thank Randy for doing the Twitters during the show. We appreciate it. And Bluehost for keeping the lights on.
It's bluehost.com/IT.
On behalf of Bob, Dave, and Nuri, like to do us a favor and drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers.
You were going to do the meatball dropping
again. Drink your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. Drive careful. See you soon. Beat it.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Long live Flash. You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy.
Make the run.
The run.
Game over, man. Game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth. Ruth.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
Joe, own the truth.
Fear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would Buick put their cars next to the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right.
Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up.
Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city.
I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.